The center court at Sobe Stadium fell silent. 10,000 Filipino fans held their breath, their eyes fixed on the young woman who had just collapsed to the ground. Alex Eala, the 21-year-old from Quezon City, had rolled her right ankle midway through the second set. The physio rushed onto the court. The tape went on. The crowd watched in horror as their hero limped back to the baseline. But what happened next shocked everyone. She ripped the tape off. She fought through the pain. And when the match ended, she revealed the truth that the tennis world had been desperately waiting for. Luckily, there's nothing wrong with it, Eala said, her voice steady despite the 2-hour, 39-minute war she had just survived. But was she telling the whole truth? How serious was the injury? And what does this mean for her chances at the biggest tournament of her career? Toronto, Canada, August 7th, 2026. The National Bank Open had become the stage for one of the most dramatic matches of the season. Alex Eala, fresh off her historic WTA 500 title win at the DC Open, was facing Caty McNally in the third round. The American had just stunned the tennis world by defeating reigning Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova in straight sets. Eala was riding a 6-match winning streak. The atmosphere was electric. The Filipino fan army had packed center court, their flags waving and voices roaring with every point. Eala had won the first set 6-3. She was in control. Then came a moment that stopped the nation. Early in the second set, at 2-1, Eala hit a forehand and landed awkwardly on her right ankle. She immediately called for a medical timeout. The physio rushed onto the court. The tape went on. The crowd watched in stunned silence. Eala's face betrayed the pain, but she refused to quit. She won the next game to take a 3-2 lead before the medical timeout. It was a moment of pure courage, a sign that the young Filipina was not going to let an injury stand in her way. The medical timeout changed everything. McNally, sensing Eala's compromised movement, capitalized on the situation. She won back-to-back games to take a 4-3 lead. Eala was struggling. The tape, which was supposed to help, was actually limiting her movement. She made a bold decision. She ripped the tape off before the start of the 8th game. The crowd erupted. Here was a player who refused to be defined by her injury, who refused to make excuses, who was willing to fight through the pain to keep her dream alive. The decision paid off. Eala moved more fluidly without the tape. She broke McNally to take a 5-4 lead. She was on the verge of victory, serving for the match. Then came the twist. McNally fought back. She reeled off 3 consecutive games to win the second set 7-5 and force a deciding set. The atmosphere was tense. Eala walked to her chair, her ankle throbbing, her body exhausted. But she didn't show it. She regrouped. She found a way. The third set was a test of wills. Eala had survived the injury scare, but McNally was riding the momentum of her second set comeback. The American had a doubles champion's net game and a fighter's mentality. But Eala had something more, the heart of a champion. She broke McNally's serve in the opening game of the decider. She took a 2-0 lead. The crowd erupted, the chants of Eala, growing deafening. The Filipina star never looked back. She held her nerve, protected her vulnerable ankle, and found enough precise tennis to survive a match that remained unsettled deep into the night. The final score was 6-3, 5-7, 6-4 in 2 hours and 39 minutes. Eala felt her knees in tears. She had done it. She had survived the injury scare. She had beaten a player who had just stunned the Wimbledon champion. And she had extended her winning streak to 7 matches. But the question on everyone's mind was, at what cost? After the match, Eala faced the press. The tennis world was waiting for answers. Was the injury serious? Would she have to withdraw from the tournament? Could she continue her historic run? Eala, exhausted but composed, delivered the update everyone had been hoping for. Yeah, I kind of rolled my ankle in that second set. I hit the forehand and I landed kind of wrong. I called the physio. I think I was like, oh, I don't know what happened because it happened so fast. But luckily there's nothing wrong with it, and it was no serious problems, Eala said. The relief was palpable. She had been lucky. The injury was not serious. But Eala didn't sugarcoat the physical toll of the match. Today was physically, it pushed me a lot. I have a lot of matches in the bag, but that goes for good and bad. I think this is also a learning process. We're athletes, so that kind of physical is, it's like a huge part of our job, she added. She was tired, but she was ready for the next challenge. I'm as tired as one can be at this stage. You can imagine a lot of matches, but that's the job. I'm ready. I'm excited for another match. I'm going to do my best to recover and start again from zero, she said. Eala's injury update was a moment of relief for the Philippines. She had survived the scare, and she was ready to continue her historic run. But the challenge was far from over. Her next opponent was Belinda Bencic, the world number 12 and an Olympic gold medalist. Bencic, a player with experience on the biggest stages, would be a formidable opponent. But Eala was confident. I have a great team who is going to help me recover, and I have high hopes for the rest of the tournament, she said. The victory over McNally had tested every ounce of her physical and mental strength. She had rolled her ankle, played through the pain, and found a way to win. The Eala effect had been on full display. The Filipino fan army had packed center court, their support carrying her through the toughest moments. These 2 weeks have been incredible for me. Just so many extreme emotions, and I'm doing my best to power through and be professional and do what I know how to do, Eala said after the match. She had become more than a tennis player. She was a symbol of hope, resilience, and national pride. The injury scare had reminded the world just how fragile an athlete's journey can be, and how extraordinary it is when they overcome the odds. From the rolled ankle that could have ended her run to the victory that proved her resilience, Alex Eala showed the world what it truly means to be a champion. She didn't make excuses. She didn't complain. She just kept fighting. The tennis world is watching, and the Philippines is celebrating. Eala mania is real, and it is only just beginning.